Hi, my name is Harley, and welcome to TransByDef. Today's topic is why transition. This is a good topic because I get asked this a bunch of times to people I'm open with. You know, it's a hard road to take, and people wonder, why do you take it? I recently learned that there's more than just one reason of why. You know, I thought the reason why I do it is because of dysphoria, and I thought that was the only reason why transgenders do it, but I realized it's not. There are transgenders that used to be former gay men who decided to transition because it's easier. Like they're so feminine that they're female. That makes sense, and they are transgender. And you know what? That's cool because it's good to know that there are that the awareness is happening, and now it's like, well, more awareness is popping up, and there's more cases, and there's more now there's more understanding, and there's more relations going on, and it's good. It's good to realize that. I, for one, transitioned because of dysphoria, which I'm going to talk about. Dysphoria is like a feeling that you get. It's very hard to explain, but it's a state of unease that you get, and me, it's related to gender. That's why it's called gender dysphoria. The particular gender, my gender, male, was giving me this state of unease, and I could never be happy because of this. And I started getting it when I was 4, and I've been battling this for like 20 so years, and it's like, you know, when I was 4, it started happening, and I didn't understand what it was, and every year it got worse. But it started growing on me that it just became normal. I was just living day to day feeling this way, and it just became normal to me because I was in a state of unhappiness, and I was living with that. And I didn't know why. It just became normal. It's kind of like when you put a frog in a pot of boiling water, the frog's going to jump out. But if you put a frog in warm water and then heat it up, the frog's not going to know. It's kind of felt like that until it's too late. And that's kind of how it felt for me, because 4 years old, it started going, increasing, and I didn't realize until it happened when I was like, fuck, I cannot live myself like a guy anymore. It's ridiculous. I can't do it. And regardless of how many times in the past that I tried to accept being a guy, and I would try to go and, just say, fuck it, throw it out, and then I would be a guy, and then all of a sudden it'll come back and hit me, and it's like, what the hell, And I remember going out with my first girlfriend, and for the first 3 months, it went away. I had no dysphoria, and then it came back, and I realized it was just a distraction. Having a girlfriend was just a distraction at the time, and it came back, and I realized now that it's transitioning is an option I might have to do. And I couldn't accept it when I realized that I can't live as a guy, but I didn't want to live as a transgender. I wanted to live as a girl, but not a transgender, and I couldn't accept it. And it took me a while to accept it. It took me a few years. And finally, when I accepted it, I decided, I'm going to transition. And acceptance is a big key, because, you really have to accept being transgender. And if you can't accept that, then you shouldn't transition. If you can't accept being, the way you are, and you can't accept being transgender, then, you're in a shit bind, because I was in that state too. And my suggestion would be, see a therapist. Go see a therapist, because you need to get it worked out which way you want to be at, and you have to see a therapist about that. And I wish I would have done that, but I didn't. I stuck it through, and then I realized it got to a point where I just, it got to a bad point. So then I accepted being transgender, and I started transitioning. During the path, you start losing that acceptance. I did, and then it took me a while to regain it, and I lost it, and I was like, I don't want to go back, and I don't want to go forward, and I don't want to stay where I'm at. I'm just like, I was in this bullshit thing, and I just could not accept it at the time. And so then I went and saw my therapist again, and talked it through, and I came out, and I was like, okay, I accept it now. I accept being transgender. And that's the thing. It's like, you have to accept the realities behind it. You have to accept that you're going to be transgender. You're not going to be a cis girl. You're going to be transgender. No matter what you do. No matter how much surgery you get, you're always going to be transgender. You can't hide that. You shouldn't hide it. You should accept it. You have to accept it before you continue forward. Even for surgery, you have to accept it before you continue to do surgery, because if you don't think with a clear mind, you're just going to act recklessly. But there are a lot of realities that you have to understand. It's like, if I transition, I am going to be labeled as a transgender. People may notice. I might not be passable. I'm going to have to go through, all these hard paths like laser and, other things. Or I might have to wear a wig, for the rest of my life, or, whatever, or whatever it is. And it's like, you have to accept these realities. And once you accept those, like for me, it was like shaving, I was like, fuck. I know I have to do something about that, but, I accepted that is something I'm going to have to do, because, I don't want to be a bearded lady. And, but I was accepting all these realities. At first I was like, my goal was very, it wasn't far-fetched. It was actually like, I just want to be androgynous. That was my goal, was to be androgynous, like, to the point where it was like, if I don't pass, then I can just stay, androgynous, and that was my goal. It was very low. It wasn't even like to the girly label. It was like right before, I was on the hormones. I, was, developing like soft skin and stuff, but I was at this androgynous point, and I was like, I accept this point, and I actually went forward, and I was like, okay, this is even better. But, you accept it. You accept all the worst case, and then you can continue moving forward because you accepted it, and, it's just going to get better, but you accepted the worst. And once you accept the worst, then transitioning would be better for you, because you accepted it, and now you may move forward or you may not. But that's the reality. You accepted the reality, and moving forward. And it's the same thing with surgery. You should accept it before you go do surgery and stuff. One more thing I just want to mention, and this will be it, but is a therapist. When you're stuck in this situation where you may have dysphoria, you don't know, I can't accept it, things like that, the best thing for you is a therapist. They will have you will talk about it, and then they will ask you questions, and some questions it's like, oh, I didn't think about that, and it's just, they help you through it, and that's the key. I wish someone told me years later to go see a therapist, like years, to say, you know what, I think you might have gender dysphoria. I think you should go see a therapist. You may not, but just go and see anyways, just in case. If someone told me that years ago, I would say, man, maybe I should, and just do it, just fuck it, just go and do it. Alright, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.